My fiancé stood in complete silence while his sister calmly reached into my purse, pulled out my credit card, and said in a casual voice, "This will go toward family expenses now." None of them had any idea that the moment her fingers closed around that card, something invisible had already shifted in the room. And within a short time, the calm expressions on their faces would disappear completely. She didn't even hesitate. She opened my purse as if it belonged to her, pushed aside my wallet and keys, and confidently pulled out the card. "This is for family expenses now," she repeated, smiling faintly. The plastic caught the light as she held it between her fingers, almost admiring it. Then she slid it into her pocket as if the decision had already been approved by everyone in the room. Then she looked at Jack. The same Jack I was supposed to marry very soon. He stood in the kitchen doorway with his hands buried in his pockets. His gaze was fixed somewhere near the floor, avoiding everyone's eyes. Silence spread slowly through the kitchen. Only the quiet sound of dishes clinking together broke the stillness. His mother stood by the sink, washing plates as though nothing unusual had just happened. Sunlight from outside poured through the window and filled the room with a warm afternoon glow. Everything looked peaceful. But the air felt heavy. Strange. Uncomfortable. "That's my card, Lena," I said softly. She shrugged without even looking at me. "Well, you're part of the family now," she replied lightly. "So it's basically our card." Jack remained silent. But that silence wasn't new to me. Over the past year, I had slowly learned that silence was his way of dealing with uncomfortable moments. When his father once asked why I couldn't simply pay my mother's medical bills myself, Jack stayed silent. When Lena joked during dinner that I probably only cared about Jack's salary, Jack stayed silent. When his mother casually suggested that I should help more with their household expenses once we got married, Jack stayed silent again. And now, as his sister casually claimed my credit card as if it were a shared family resource, he said nothing. I slowly took a breath. Oddly enough, I didn't feel angry. Inside me there was only a calm, steady feeling. Because deep down I had already imagined this moment. Earlier that morning, something inside me had quietly settled into place. I had already made a decision. "All right," I said calmly. Lena smiled with satisfaction and glanced toward Jack. "See," she said. "I told you she'd understand." I closed my purse and leaned gently against the kitchen counter. None of them had any idea what had already happened earlier that day. That morning I had been sitting on the small balcony of my apartment. The city below moved slowly through the quiet hours of early daylight. Cars rolled down the street. People walked along the sidewalks, carrying coffee cups and briefcases. In my hands was my phone. On the screen was my banking application. The same account where my salary had been deposited for the past 2 years. The same account I had quietly used to help Jack pay off part of his student loans. The same account I had used to buy groceries for his parents after his father's surgery. For months I had helped them without making it a big conversation. I believed that was what families did for one another. But that morning, sitting on that balcony, I had looked at the numbers and realized something important. I had been carrying responsibilities that were never truly mine. And nobody had even noticed. So I didn't close the account. Instead, I moved every dollar out of it. A new account. A new bank. A fresh beginning. Then I made a phone call. "Hello. This is Emily Carter," I said calmly. "I need to block my credit card immediately." The woman on the phone politely confirmed my information. Then I added one more request. "If anyone else attempts to use the card, please notify me right away." The conversation lasted only a few minutes. It felt strangely simple. Back in the kitchen, Lena opened the refrigerator and examined the shelves. We should order something tonight, she said casually. Maybe pizza. Then she pulled my card from her pocket and waved it playfully in the air. Let's use Emily's card. I watched quietly. She picked up her phone and started placing an online order. For a few seconds, everything seemed normal. Then she frowned. Huh. She typed again, more carefully this time. Another pause. Confusion slowly appeared on her face. Why isn't this working? She tried once more. This time her eyebrows pulled together. Jack finally lifted his head. What's wrong? The card keeps getting declined, Lena said. I nodded slightly. Yes, I replied calmly. It will keep doing that. The room became still. Jack looked directly at me. What do you mean? I met his gaze. I blocked it this morning. Lena narrowed her eyes. Why would you do that? Because it's my card. Silence filled the kitchen again. His mother slowly turned off the faucet. Water stopped running. Jack's voice grew colder. Emily, why are you turning this into a big issue? For a moment I simply looked at him. Then I laughed. Not politely. Not nervously. A real laugh. A big issue. I repeated. I looked around the room. For 2 years I've helped support this family. I helped with your student loans. I paid for groceries after your father's surgery. I even covered your car insurance for several months when things were tight. Jack didn't respond. And today, I continued quietly, your sister opens my purse, takes my card, and you just stand there. Lena gave a sarcastic laugh. Oh, please, she said. You're acting like this is some kind of tragedy. I slowly shook my head. No, I said softly. The important part hasn't happened yet. Right at that moment, Lena's phone rang. She glanced at the screen. An unknown number. Annoyed, she answered. Hello? A few seconds passed. Her expression changed almost instantly. What? Her voice rose sharply. No, that's impossible. This card isn't mine. She looked directly at me. The voice on the other end continued speaking calmly. Ma'am, this is the bank's security department. We received a report of a suspicious attempt to use this card. Lena's face turned pale. I spoke quietly. Yes, I said. I informed them earlier that if anyone else tried to use it, they should call immediately. Jack's eyes widened. The entire kitchen fell silent. I picked up my purse. And there's one more thing, Jack. He stared at me as if he was seeing me for the first time. This morning, I continued, I also cancelled our wedding. His mother gasped softly. What? I already called the venue, I said. The deposit is gone. I paused briefly, but at least I got something far more valuable back. I turned toward the door. Inside me there was no anger. No chaos. Just a quiet sense of clarity. As I reached the doorway, Jack's voice followed me. Emily, wait. But I didn't stop. Outside, the sunlight was warm and bright. Cars moved down the street. Life continued exactly as it had earlier that morning. But something inside me had changed completely. For the first time in a long time, I realized I was no longer carrying the weight of expectations that were never mine to begin with. And as I walked away from that house, from that kitchen, and from the life I had almost stepped into, I finally understood something simple and powerful. Respect is not something you beg for. It's something you protect. And the moment you start protecting it, your life truly begins to belong to you.